being honest.
That we have here today. And to all of you, welcome. Just so you know, I'm still working on the mug. We got it. We're this close to getting it done. Okay? So when we get it done, I'm going to bring everybody back and we'll do it again. Okay? Everybody back. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Those who don't, I'll explain it later. Okay. We're honoring 3 gentlemen tonight and their families. And before we get started, I think it's appropriate that we go through some introductions. So, Juan, we'll start with you. Do you have any friends or family here, Juan?
I'm here right now. This is my wife, Donna. And then I have 2 other sisters who are outside smoking. Yeah, that's Pat and Jan. The blonde is Dan.
Hi, guys.
I think blonde is more fun, so I'm not sure.
Okay,
Sure I am.
We really are starting to go to the edge here. we've had to endure him all day.
And these 2 folks right here, Dan and Sue, are my best friends.
Hi, Dan. Welcome to you all. We're glad you joined us. Oscar?
Here I am.
Who are your friends and family here?
Well, I'm proud to say it's my mom, my dad, my sister, my wife with the camera, my daughter, and her husband.
Have you ever seen a more handsome family? You know, to heck with you, Oscar, let's honor your parents. Thank you and welcome. We're glad you're here. Now, David, where's David?
I'm over here hiding. This is my daughter Dawn, and this is her son Graham. Amy.
Hey, it's time to retire.
Oh, I never got to the other.
But they are boy and girl.
David's
And Ruby.
I'm sorry, Dave, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
What?
That's your daughter.
Yes, your daughter.
Amy and Julian,
Hi.
Ed, and Vivian. Last but not least, Tanya.
Welcome to you all. Well, this is really becoming a neat tradition for us because as a couple people have said, this isn't a party for the retirees, it's really a party for all the rest of us. And the reason that is because we get to see, in this case, these 3 gentlemen who've given so much of their life, so much of their career to our company, has made it better by what they've done. We get to see their friends, we get to see their family, and it's kind of a coming together, a reckoning of what is good about, gosh, the afterlife. Is that kind of the? I'm going to get into that morbid thing again. I can't do that, but it is just so terrific to see and meet all of you, and we're so glad that you're here. Usually we do one at a time, but we wanted to kind of combine this. And we have a few people who are going to say some things about everybody. But before we do that, David, how many years of service?
20.
20. Oscar?
36.
Oh, wow. 86 long. 86 years of dedicated service, of making our company better, of making the St. Louis Brewery better. I think we owe them a round of applause. And again, welcome to all the families and friends and neighbors and folks who decided to come and share in these three gentlemen's joy and their happiness and their families. And we always get advice from all the other retirees. Now, where are the guys with the Velcro on their shoes? There's no engineers retired. That's pretty good. Bill's not here tonight. What about Lee Grovers? Lee here? Ken Hasty? Okay, well that's okay. But we're glad that you're all here. So without further ado, I think first we're gonna honor all three of these gentlemen, and we'll do Oscar first, then we'll do David, and then we'll finish up with Juan. Each of us has got a little something to say along the way here. So, you want to do David first, and then we'll do Oscar. Dave, you're on first. Okay, Dave. Well, wait a minute. Who's got the cameras? I got a video camera back here. We got a camera here. Okay. So make sure as we do this, we get plenty of shots, and then you guys are responsible for sending me some copies. Okay?
This is the first time I've ever seen Dave in a Hawaiian shirt and no socks. He's apropos.
I knew I forgot something.
He's definitely getting ready for the retirement age. All he needs is a pair of shorts, and he's going to
There you go, 35.
Okay. Dave, I went through Dave's file today really quick because I wanted to get some scoop on him just to see how many years of service he had and some other things. And it was really empty. But that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I wanted to see, when did Dave start with Anheuser Busch? He started in 1982, in July 16th, I think it was. I looked that up today. He's been here since 1982, and he started off as a tinner. So Dave worked for 5 years as a tinner.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and he must have done a pretty good job because then David got promoted to a tinner foreman in 1987. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Okay. So, and then we made some changes in the way we do business with trying to be more flexible with people and trying to do more with less and a bunch of other things. So then Dave was actually asked to fill in and doing some different things that he wasn't actually familiar with and something he hasn't done in the past before. And I can honestly say that Dave has done, since I've been here 3 years now, has done a good job of stepping up to the plate. When you ask David to complete a task, David goes out and gets it done for you, no questions asked, I'll take care of it. And that's pretty decent. Dave is the kind of guy Dave is probably the nicest guy in the world I know. Dave comes into work, you can't tell if Dave's upset. Dave is the straightest line guy I've ever seen. I thought I was a pretty straight line guy. This guy right here is smooth, straight line. So that's unique. There's not a lot of people like that you can expect the same type of attitude and same type of outlook from day to day. And that makes things easier for a lot of people like myself to deal with issues. But one thing, Dave came by my office before he left tonight, and I asked him to drop off some things. And he did forget something, and that's what I kind of get holding in my hand. Buddy. Yeah. And I was trying to figure this out, and I think this is what 20 years at Anheuser-Busch does. He's got a key collection that goes back to the tin shop. And I asked him, do you know what these are, where they go? And he said, I don't have a clue. He's been carrying them around religiously every day for the last 20 years. He's got some old key tags that say ESP, which was the old Employee Suggestion Program, which now is ETI, because we change things. Excellent ideas.
Very quick must think that I know where every key goes, because he keeps saying, Dave's got the keys. I know where it is.
So anyways, real quick, I just wanted to say congratulations, Dave. I hope you enjoy your retirement.
Doesn't Dave get any gifts?
He has parting gifts. They're on the table. Hey Juan, those aren't yours. Get your hands off.
I was just going to pass it over to you.
We asked Dave what he wanted, and evidently evidently Dave's gonna take up fishing, I guess, in retired life, so we got a couple things that relate to that, but all the group got together, pitched in, and got some big things, so I'm gonna send
Oh,
these.
thank you.
They're yours. Thank you.
Thanks.
There's a whole bunch of cards.
Okay.
Those are cheap.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, everybody. I'll see what I got here. You want to carry on while I'm doing this?
No, go ahead, Dave. Just be quick.
Somebody's pulling out a Scotch tape for us.
I have just what you need.
Yeah, it works. Wow. You're all right.
Dave, do you mind if I get a drink while you open your
Go for it.
There's only 3 of us can get away with it.
Let's do it. Good as pencil. Thanks, everyone.
You still get the mug, Dave, when I get that.
Okay.
Now, while Dave's opening his gifts, I would just like to add what Joel said. When I came to the brewery 5 years ago, St. Louis, I've been with the company 22 years. I came to the brewery. One of my first assignments was to work in maintenance, and there was just a terrific group of people down there. Dave was one of them, and I'm sure through the years many people came and went and tried to leave their mark on the brewery. And I think one of the things that's a tribute to Dave and a lot of the folks that worked in the maintenance was they put up with people like me, where maybe I thought I had some of the best ideas coming, I was fresh, I'm going to make a mark. Dave not only put up with that, but in the end I learned an awful lot from guys like Dave and Dave in particular. And Joel wasn't kidding about Dave being steady. I was here at nights when everything was broken down and things were falling down around us. All right, Dave. And Dave was one of those guys who just pitched in and made sure that we kept on a steady track. So, Dave, I just want to add my thanks. Thank you. Thank you. So, Joel, does it get better than a shirt?
Because he wanted to buy a depth finder, and we didn't feel like we were qualified to buy that.
Well, couldn't we just have taken one of those alabaster things and dropped it down? Yeah, every 2 days.
Hey, don't tell everybody. Thanks, Jay. That's finder is something I really do need. Thank you. Congratulations.
Oscar!
When got ready to talk about Oscar, I was asked around for anybody who could remember what Oscar did when he first came to the company, but Oscar, there was nobody left. So, and I'm quite out, so I don't know. But, so I checked HR, and she said, "You wanted me to send it to you, or just read it off over the phone?" I said, "Just read it to me." Who did you know the first 10 years you worked? You had a list of jobs about this long, and every one of them sounded like you'd made them up yourself. I think Oscar started May 18th, 1966, as a messenger. Like that? Is that what you call it? Okay.
Was that on horseback? Okay.
But you did clerk jobs and coordinate, and I'm not sure what all you were coordinating, but clerks and coordination, and it looked like about 1976 you got a real job, and you came as a supervisor in the warehouse, and worked there up until today. Okay? I've known Oscar almost 5 years now, and Oscar was one of the guys when I first got here who we talked about where we were going to go and how change was going to happen, and he's one of the guys who looked at me and said, it ain't going to happen.
Too many years and seen too many things happen.
But as for some of you who are still that came back, you can see that change did happen, and things are running fairly well, really well. But guys like Oscar and a lot of other people who are in this room are all part of that change. And it was their dedication and their belief, maybe not always believing at the beginning, but their belief at the end that made that change. And I think that for all of you who, some of you left a few years ago, but and some of you were here to the end, all had a very big part in that change, and all you can be very proud about. Oscar got to see some change. I would throw things at him quite regularly, different things. One time I called him and said, I need you to go to Cartersville and see you later. And he went out there and did a great job for me in Cartersville. And another time he got back from vacation, and I said, what am I supposed to do? And I said, you're going to be the supervisor over the 5-liter can. I don't think we even let him finish saying, I've never done that before when we hung up. He said, just be here. And he did a terrific job on that. And Oscar was always someone who, if he didn't think he could do it, he didn't let anybody know that. He had dedication. And I will say this, as we look for people to continually come into the company and replace us as we move on, I wish that I could find someone who had the heart that Oscar had, because he was very, very good. That's my tribute to Mr. Guyton, because he truly made us all very proud of him. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Take your shot while you can, Juan.
I thank you for the kind words. 36 years is a long time, and I've seen a lot of changes. And one thing he mentioned about when he came, let's say 5 years ago, he did tell me about the things that we were going to do, and I didn't believe it, because I've seen a lot of things happen in the years I've been here. But he actually made me believe it. I can say some of the guys that left and been away from here for 5 years, or even less than that, if you come back and see the changes that have been made, you'd be shocked.
Oscar, we would, but they won't let us in.
Another thing I want to say is, about a couple years ago, I had to leave and have an operation on my knee. I had a knee replacement, and I was going through a lot of pain. And this operation, it took a little bit more to get me back on my feet than normal. You get a knee replacement now, you get it in, say, 2, 3, 4 months, and it should be back to work. But mine took over a year. And what I want to say to management, I just thank them, really thank them how they treated me, through going through the ordeal that I went through, because, every time I called in and explained to what was going on, they were kind, they were considerate, and it made my ordeal comfortable. And when I came back, I really appreciate how they treated me. So I just want to say thank you.
Brewery.
all of your years have been here at the St. Louis Brewery. I think you started out as an hourly employee, is that right?
Yes.
How many years did you work as an hourly employee?
About 4 years.
4 years, and then you went to supervision, right? And then you probably worked just about every single job we've got in the place, haven't you?
The only one I haven't done is QA.
QA? Where's Al? Weekender. I thought about what I wanted to say, and I can't, I have a good sense of humor, I think, I can get creative, but I just can't do that to Juan, okay? And so I'm gonna get a little serious just for a moment and just tell you a couple of things. I think as we all go through life, and we all go through our careers, and we look at those people that we have relationships with, those that we work with, those that we look up to, I think every now and then we come across one or two people who just have a tremendous influence on our lives. And when I came here 5 years ago, Juan was in a completely different position. And I've seen him get into things and do things. And if you go back and look at the first 26 years, I guess that's right? 31 minus 5 is 21 years. All the things that he has done for Anheuser-Busch. I will tell you that when we came here, we threw him a couple of curveballs. And he handled those curveballs just like a major leaguer. I will tell you that the only thing I ever got out of Juan Carrera was, I'll try that, yes I can do that, yes let me see if I can get that squared away. I have never been around somebody with more dedication, with more resiliency, with more just absolute passion for the business, to try to make us better. Whether it's the process, whether it's us as leaders, whether it's peers, whether it's subordinates, I think Juan epitomizes what we all see in the goodness of people trying to make Anheuser-Busch better, people trying to make the St. Louis Brewery better. I learned a great deal from Juan. I will tell you, the last couple of years, I work for a gentleman by the name of Mike Hardy. And Mike is he too is passionate about the business. And he is very straightforward, and he's very demanding. And he is, he's one of those guys that when you get a phone call from Mike, you're kind of doing one of these things. And I remember Kevin Lee and I and a couple other people, we thought we had started PQC. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's having our operators actually do the quality checks. It was a big transition. Well, in St. Louis, we kind of got started a little late. And Mike was a little upset with me and some others that we hadn't gotten it going. So we looked around and said, you know what, Juan? That's something we want you to take care of. Let's try to get jump-started here and see what we can do. So Juan and Kenny Brown and Alan and a lot of people in this room just worked extremely hard, but we really looked for Juan to provide some leadership to help us get that done. And we progressed. We were the last one to start, and I will tell you, we were the first one to finish. As big as we were, that was an unbelievable feat. And I remember we were sending Kenny and Juan down to the PQC conference, this is what, about a year and a half ago? And I knew they were down there, and I was a little nervous because Mike was going to be there. And Mike's very demanding, and Mike told me before the conference, you guys had better show some progress, or you'll be in my office the next week. So I'm sitting there, I get this page, I know they're down there, and it says, call Mike Harding on his cell phone. I'm thinking, oh, jeez, what did Juan do? All I could think of was, okay, how am I going to try to defend him and Kenny and what we've done? And I thought, you told me we did really good before you went down there. Oh, man. So I get out my, the phone, and I dial Mike, and he goes, Mike Harding. And I think, no, and I go, Mike, this is Jeff, how are you? Listen, big guy. Now, whenever he starts with listen, big guy, what comes after that is usually not too good. He goes, listen, big guy, I don't know what you've been doing, but what Juan and Kenny have done and what they presented here, you guys are #1. I couldn't be more pleased with what you've done. You deserve all the credit with your leadership and everything else. And I said, no, that's Juan and Kenny. And he went on and on and on. And I thought, that's the first compliment I ever got from Mike. And coming from Mr. Harding, okay, that means that not only were we in good shape, but Juan and Kenny, who went down there with Juan, just did a fabulous job. I will tell you today that when they talk about PQC and that whole process, they look at St. Louis and they hold us up in a very favorable, this is what we want you to be like. And I give Juan a lot of the credit for that. And it's not just our PQC process. Everybody who works at the brewery knows how we've done with TPOs and all those things. And the last couple of years, all Juan has done is given us his best. He's given us 110%. I am proud having known Juan. I've learned a great deal being around Juan, and he knows I've been trying to talk him out of this now for about 4 months, am I right? And I got pretty close, you know? Okay, so I didn't get so close, but I tried. I just want to wish you simply the very best, and we're always happy to see all of our retirees, and I offer not only to you but to Dave and Oscar, please come back and see us, whether it's here or whether it's coming to the brewery. We might let him in.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But Juan, seriously, I can't thank you enough what you've done for me, what you've done for our company, what you've done for the St. Louis Brewery. When we talked this morning, you must know that it's not only heartfelt, but it's very genuine. I can't tell you how proud I am of you, all that you've done for us, and even though you're gone, there's a little bit of you in everybody. And when they start speaking Spanish to Dolly, I'll know that. Congratulations to you. God bless you. Wayne? Now, if you don't know what this is, then you certainly haven't been with us before. But go ahead. Or do you want to say something?
Well, just let you take a few minutes to say thank you. On behalf of Oscar, Walton, Dave, and myself, thank you very much for coming to help us out with that retirement. What I'd like to focus is, what do we come up with, 86 years?
Yep.
Now, don't focus on what you lose, focus on what you have. You have many more years than 86 years of experience. Because this plant has done many things that many people thought was never possible. We have accomplished things that, quite honestly, nobody thought we can do. At one time, we were a target to be closed, but we made it through. We made it through our work, through our commitment to our company, through our commitment to our plant. We have great records, just June the 10th, we made a record of 328,000 barrels. Now, for those of you folks who do not know what 328,000 barrels is a mountain, okay? We are accustomed to running about 280,000 barrels. That's pretty comfortable. But when you jump that high, that's a tremendous effort. And the only way you can do it is with the people you have. They directed maintenance, Oscar directed the warehouse, and I, in whatever way that I think. So those are some of the accomplishments that we got made. And I know that this team that we have now managing the plant is going to accomplish even many more goals than that. So I thank you all for being here. I hope that in some way or form, I was part of you achieving your goals at one time or another. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
It is not fair for me to receive gifts and not giving a gift to someone. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the young man who I want to see here. So I'm going to give that to Q for Q to pass it on. Now this is a little clock. This is a little clock. If you can allow me to tell you a little story about this little clock. My daughter and I went to visit her in Houston. And she said, "Dad, I think that clock is good." What this clock does is it counts down the time. So we program it to the day, actually we program it to March 31st. Because I put it on March 31st. Now Jeff and I realized that, but he said, "Hey, can you stay at home with us?"
No. It started out, could you stay a few more years?
So I promised to him, I said, I'm going to stay at home for 3 months. So this morning when I came down, this clock was over 0. But what the thing about this clock is that I used to look at it in days like I had this week.
Yeah.
This is probably the worst week I ever had. I used to tell this clock, come on, man, move on. You know? Shave a few months, shave a few days, shave a few hours. But there were many more times, many more times when I used to tell this clock, slow down. I'm having fun. My units are running great. My reports are being great. Jeff is happy. Because our responsibility as managers is to make Jeff happy. When you make Jeff happy, everybody else is happy. But when Jeff goes, you gotta do 5 hours. But anyway, of course the clock wouldn't listen. So when I told her to speed up, it says, hey, you made that mess, you clean it up. But when I told her to slow down, it says, make up your mind. Why don't you speed up? You want me to slow down, make up your mind. But anyway, the purpose of the story is, and I thought about, who am I going to give this clock to? Should I give it to the next person that retires? Should I give it to somebody who has many more years to go? But the person who I want to give this clock to is to a gentleman named Tim Gray. Is Tim in here?
There he is. Hey, Timmy.
I don't know if there's enough time on that clock.
About Tim Gray. I met this young man in 1997. He was a weekender. He was a temporary employee working on 5-liter cans, and Oscar was his home. I was helping with a 5-liter can. I don't know if you've even seen the 5-liter can. But anyway, Tim did a very good job. Tim it has a tremendous impact what he has done so far in our company. And I know that he's going to do well in the past. He's going to do very well. So I thought, this is appropriate for Tim. But Tim has to do 2 things. He has to read the numbers on this clock, and he has to give you the last number. So I took the liberties to find out when he was born. Tim was born on April 17, 1975. I started on April 17, 1972. I was already working when his father, John, who I know very well and have worked with him very much, he was probably thinking about, should I have him? But, you know, knowing John as well I do, he's probably very proud of him. And I'm also very proud of how working with him. So Tim, the job tonight is just to read these numbers.
39 years, 9 months, 18 days, 6 hours, 55 minutes.
Hey, Tim, if we have another week like this, it'll be a lot shorter.
We're going to avoid it. Thanks.
Those batteries are only good for 10 years.
SAP number?
It's been a great time. It's been a great career.
Now, while Juan's opening that up now, please remember, we're going to want to try to get a shot. Can you help us with that? Okay. In fact, you were the photographer the last
Did you
time.
see it?
No.
They got it here.
Oh,
She
did you?
taped
Okay,
it.
cool, good.
The
Great.
pictures from last
Oh, yeah,
time.
the pictures are here from last time.
Super.
Hey, Lieutenant Person said has improved from the last time. Just an idea. Anytime you have a good idea, the point is always here.
Well, no, wait, let's clarify clarify that, okay?
You're retired now, Juan.
Yeah. When Juan would come up with an idea and it wasn't successful, it was Juan's, what is it, lame brain. If whatever Juan came up with worked out really well, it was Jeff's grand vision. Huh? Leveraging the
I got a knife.
Oh, we're here, please.
Oh, I knew you could prepare. Now, if you're gonna host some accident, it doesn't count.
Let me do the wife's there while it's all out. You gotta flip it. Yeah. I've done it a few times. Just flip it over, we gotta look it out. This is it.
So if we could get all the past retirees and employees to come kind of in a semicircle here. I want Oscar, Juan, and David kind of in the front. David! David! Come on. Come on, let's be quick.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Now, do you guys have a drink?
Oh, ask her go.
Those of you who raise your glass. This is a group picture.
Can everybody stay together because we're going to see the weapon back?
We're going to do that free thing again? Okay, all right. Okay. Everybody smile, come on. Cheese. Right, let's go. Amen. winding.
Crash battery.
It's gonna be 4 shots.
Three.
We're gonna have to do 4, you're a bigger brewery.
Personal, Jeff.
Yeah.
One more time around.
Come on. Are you Vegas for that?
That's all right, they know their hand.
Hey, Bill, Juan's gonna leave, you're still here, pal.
I was hoping for a clock.
Hey, Bill, I'll see to it. Hey,